Let's see. Let's see if that did anything. I think it did. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We should have audio now. Um. So please let me know if you've got audio now. Tail of the Manticore is here. If he can hear me. Um. Yeah. Let me know. Let me know if we've got audio back. I am not sure what was going on with that. Just a minute ago. I usually am pretty up and at it. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Tale of the Manticore, which has Tale of the Manticore is a pretty cool kind of podcasty review. It's a let's play, formatted kind of like an audio drama, in a way. When it comes to a game of Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing going on. It's really cool. You should go check them out though. Evolution of Gaming. Hey, how you doing? We got 5 live chat lounge cats already rolling up in here. Very nice, very nice. I'm just gonna make sure the tunes are working for later. Cool, cool. Um, but as I was saying in my introduction, I've been working out like a madman. And if you wanted to see what I do, in prep for the firefighting physical fitness test, you can go ahead and check out that stream on PML. As I start dropping brushes, like what the heck was that? Oh no, just a wing. We got a wing. A couple of projects still on the workbench back there. But yeah, please go check out Tale of the Manticore. It's one of my favorite things to listen to when I'm out, like driving deliveries for my day job. I really enjoy listening to Tale of the Manticore when I catch it amongst my usual shenanigans that I tend to frequent. A lot of audiobooks and podcasts and stuff. Another good podcast too is one of our affiliates, the Redcaps Podcast. It's a wonderful podcast. We've got our airbrushes up to PSI here. Okay, well, you take care there, Tonka Todd. And yeah, you'll listen to the sandpaper voice that I have while you're doing chores. I hope you enjoy, sir. I hope you enjoy. Um, so, what do we have to prime? We have a ton of stuff to prime. We have an entire box of stuff to prime. Like this whole thing. I think the set dressing pieces, this giant bag, I'm not gonna get to. There's just way too many pieces in there to do up the entire thing. But what we are gonna do is we're gonna make sure all of the models in here at least have some kind of paint on them. Weird World War II, Brian, he needs this by January. And after stalling for a month or two with other projects, I have a lot to get done. So we're gonna crack on at it, and we're gonna go ahead and get the stream cleaned up, so to speak. Before we do that, I guess it would be a good time to throw this bad boy up. If you'd like to see our affiliates, there's your queue right there. You can scan the QR code on your screen here now to check out the rest of our wonderful PML affiliates. It's all the way at the bottom of the page. So just do a quick scrolly, and you'll see all of our fun friends. Ah, yeah. Hey there, Dungeon Minister. I hear you and Todd are going to have a meeting of the minds. I'm really excited to hear about that if there's anything to share afterwards. So yeah, today we're going to be using Pro Acryl Dark Neutral Gray, number 005 in their catalog, should you want to paint by numbers with me. I'm just going to get some gloves here. I still haven't unpacked from Claricon. So basically all of my stuff is in a nice little tote bag, tote thing behind me. But yeah, it's just prime time tonight. My whole goal is just to get these guys primed and ready to rock. If you want to see the test model that we did for the Soldatens, or I think that's what they're called, Soldatens, the kind of German infantry troops. You can go ahead and check that out too on the channel there. I've got a sweet little short, and I believe on that. And so yeah, that turned out really good. So we're gonna be using dark neutral gray for this. Let me get the spray booth cam up and running again. Yeah, kind of primetime TV for sure. Speaking of Tale of the Manticore, yo, where did I put those? I tried using your magnets to stick up here on. I have a light bar up here in the studio. Shoot. I wanted to show off your really cool magnets though. Like, this is my life, constantly just hunting around for stuff down here. What I really need to do is get, like, I don't know, maybe a little bit better organized. But I have some really cool magnets from Tale of the Manticore. And when I find them, I will show them off because they're super cool. Okay. Checklist. Doop. Got that. Thought I brought some drinks down here, but oh well. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and bop some tunes here. Let me know if the volume's too loud, but I think I've kind of got it in the sweet spot for background music. And we're just going to kind of chill out and start our project. What's going on, Frost and Fist? We got 9 live chat lounge cats up in here. And one other thing, Tale of the Manticore, that offer that I was talking about at ClariCon, that still stands. So if you ever want to rehash that and talk about it, that's always out there for you. Because your stuff's really cool. Let's go ahead and hide all the branding stuff. We'll go ahead and hide our friends for now. As much as I love them, just seems like it's a little bit better when we have some of the stuff knocked down here. Okay. Let's see. Did that turn it over? Oh, Lord. It looks like the technical difficulties are striking again. Let's see. Yeah, that should be, oh, that's why. Mode. We need you in the video one. Come on. Let's go. Now are you sending out the right... This is my life. Okay. Alright. What is the hang-up? There, little camera. The workhorse of the studio here. It's like eating it on the struggle bus. Well, what's going on? We can talk for a little bit while I try and get this set up. What's going on in your neck of the woods? Tell me about what's been going on with you in the land of gaming. So, right? For sure. Yeah, this is just really weird. Everything was working last night, and now it's not. I've got the poor old Elgato branding. Okay, time to go play PC mechanic. Ability. something get unplugged back here? Lord only knows. There's probably a gremlin in the Paint Minis live studio. I'm almost sure of it. Yeah, definitely a gremlin. I hope they didn't chew my cords. Okay. Fix Tech Live. Yeah, that's definitely that should be the nickname of the stream here. Hoi. Oh, did we get it? Did we get it? Oh, we got it. We got it. Cool. Okay. Here's the spray booth cam. So, yeah. Dungeon Minister is editing. Very nice. I've worked Sunday, so I'll be missing my group's D&D session this week. Oh, no! FTL for Road March. Okay. Yes, very nice. So now that our goofy shenanigans is out of the way, friends, we'll get back to the thing that's important, the thing that we're here for, which is all of the paints and fun things to do with them. Okay. Now to get my primer here. Do. I rarely prime in black. I almost never prime in white. I always go for this neutral gray. Gives you a nice balance of shadows. It's quite entertaining. What's going on, Miss Bella? I hope you have a fun session in Enshrouded. Miss Bella has some of the best gaming streams on planet Earth when it comes to all of your fun chillax style gaming sessions. Plays a lot of MMOs and other fun games. And she's a very kind and bubbly personality. So go check out Miss Bella Games, because she's cool. I love me some Miss Bella Games around here. When I gotta veg out, or like I've just been kind of scrolling, Miss Bella's kind of a gaming oasis in the crazy world of video games, you know? You see a lot of like Twitch stuff, like Call of Duty and whatnot. Miss Bella's much more chill, and in my opinion, frankly, a bit more entertaining too. Okay, so we have our models here. These are all kind of the similar Soldaten guys that we were working on last time. So we've got some of them here already, and I'll be plucking out minis too as we go through the night here. But I know I'm going to be using a lot of this, so we're going to use some Vallejo airbrush flow improver. I absolutely love this stuff. Same thing goes with their thinner. We're going to mix in just a couple of drops of this. It's really nice for breaking down the super pasty acrylic primer. And to be honest, Monument Hobbies actually does a really good job. Hey, what's going on, Calvinonian, the one and only? But yeah, Monument Hobbies does a really good job at making a thinner primer than other brands, at least that I've tried. It is still thick, but you don't have to water it down quite as much, so you get better coverage, blah blah blah. And it doesn't really settle as much at the bottom of the bottle. Still got to take care of that a little bit, but... Hey, all right, glad to hear it. Well, you let me know, and I'll make sure you're covered. We've got Southern Game distributors from the lower part of the U.S. They make really good boards and backing and stuff, which was one of the things when I was talking to the sales rep for them when I was trying to get partnerships. They said that was one thing that they were kind of known for. So that's cool. We're gonna start with about, I don't know, probably a dozen drops of flow improver, And then I'm also going to put the thinner at the bottom because when I go and put the sponge on the front of the airbrush to kind of blow bubbles into the color cup, I want the thinner and flow improver agents to kind of mix from the bottom. Have more bones for Bill. Oh, you have more bones for me. You have more bones for me? I'm always into all things bony. I feel like that's very close to innuendo territory, but we won't go there. We're PG-13 until I kind of figure out what's going on with the color cup cabaret idea that I was kind of playing with. Let me know if you like or dislike that, by the way. It doesn't make sense to do something if nobody's going to enjoy it. But yeah, my idea for the color cup cabaret was just a place where it's a bit more adult oriented, a little bit looser around the lips, so to speak. Something advertised, definitely not for the kids at home, because I do still market this as, not really market, but I just kind of spread around that this is a 18 plus YouTube channel. Not like I'm doing anything crazy, just because I like to make sure that if I accidentally say something, nobody's going to come back and tell me that their middle schooler heard something they should not have. But otherwise, and that would just be on Friday nights. That way, the rest of the audience that's out there that's probably younger can still watch on the normal days. All right. I think our primer is running just about the consistency I want it to be. So we're going to get some lights on the situation and start up the fan. Oh boy, that sounds fun. Yeah, Horde of the Darned. There you go. We have nine folks tuning in tonight. That is absolutely wonderful. Okay. Let's see if I mix this primer right with our first model here. Yeah, it looks like we're getting... It's a little bit runny, but we can work with it. We'll just do some small coats here and there. Really should oil this airbrush too. I'm just using kind of a cheap Chinese knockoff airbrush. I love these things. You can get them at Spray Gunner. They're just this no-name brand that they've got. And I love them for priming because they're cheap. You can get one for $50 and it comes with a hose and a little pipette and the tools to take it apart, clean it, and whatnot. So it's super nice for doing the jobs like this that would be really hard on a pro level airbrush like the Infinity or maybe like an Iowata Eclipse or something like that. So I really do enjoy using these cheaper airbrushes strictly for priming. Makes my life a little bit easier not having to worry so much about, well, if I mess it up or it gets clogged to the point of no return, I can just kind of use it as a write-off. Not that I'm made of money here, but tools wear out, and the less I use some of those more expensive tools, the more I can kind of use them for their intended purposes, details, and, kind of color fades. So I've got a catapult that I've laser cut on my laser, and I am just waiting for that bad boy to come out on stream. It turned out really well. I just have to glue it all together and get it ready, but I'm excited to paint that bad boy up because Cal sent us a whole box of skulls. And that was really generous of you, Cal. but I think a whole bunch of them skulls are gonna get painted and put on this catapult. And I think we all know what that means. It's gonna be fun on a bun. I like these minis, but man, they have so many little nooks and crevices to kind of take into consideration. There we go. I mean, I think that should be good. I'm not going to prime their bases, like the underside of the base. If you look at that guy, he's got a little bit of red poking out. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be handling these guys a lot. That'll be kind of the final step, is to prime the red spots on the bases and then go ahead and like paint that a flat black, just to kind of clean it up and finish the model, because I sure do like having a nice clean base. Alright, I've got to take this protector off here on my airbrush. Good. The needle chuck was acting up just a little bit. There we go. Now we're kind of... I also got the Halo Flashpoint box in from Mantic, who is also a partner of Paint Minis Live. But I've got the Halo Flashpoint box in. I was showing that off, I think yesterday. I was showing that off. It's starting to blur together though a little bit, so when it comes to days and whatnot, I've just been pushing myself really hard with the working out stuff. But it's here anyways. I showed it off on one of the streams earlier, so I'm super excited to paint up some Halo Spartans soon as well. But first thing is first, I've got to get these minis done for Brian and make sure that he's got a really cool setup to play. Is it snowing up there? It's not snowing up there, up here yet. We're still early stages of, well, kind of mid stages of fall here. So I have not really, we haven't had any snow, or at least a decent amount of it yet. So that's a-okay for me though, because that means I don't have to shovel. I love rain, mainly because it just kind of, it moves itself. Let's see. Oh, it looks like the paint screw. Yeah, there we go. The paint screw was a little bit stuck. And I might have, do I have tip dry going on? There we go. I really enjoy priming with an airbrush. I mean, it is a little bit more work. I have to go back around various places a couple of times because you got to hit it from everywhere, but what it does allow you to do is make a very thin amount of primer on the model and keep all that cool detail that you paid for, because that's honestly what they're charging you for, is the tooling on the master molds. So that's kind of fun. 3 boys here, I never have to shovel. There you go. Well, get that labor out of them, you know? Again, it's not really the fanciest thing in the world to prime, stream priming the models, but hey, it's all good. Having some good company around makes this priming job a heck of a lot easier. So thank you all for being here and hanging out with me. I'll have to go and make sure I catch Mythos' stream. He was talking about doing some custodies from 40k soon here. So Mythos, if you're still around, I'll be watching, man. I'll be watching. I want to see them golden boys come to life. I think this guy's pretty good. We're just gonna bang out the base and move on. Let's check the chat too. Yeah, I know. Priming can be a bit of a chore. Again, it always helps if you got some friends around or somebody to talk to. Just because, you know, we're not really going to be moving off of this one gray color for the rest of the night, folks. And I'm going to M. Night Shyamalan you, and the joke is that you are my entertainment. What do you know? Evolution of Gaming is painting some Imperial Guard for 40k. Fun. Oh, you're painting in your hotel room tonight. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because you're on the road. Okay. Very nice. Well, have fun painting those. Another nice thing about priming these guys, and you know, kind of why I take a bit more time on each model, is because even if you leave the primer behind, you know, and there's no paint on a specific area, that primer will still hide it. So it kind of will help you, it can help you in those aspects. Because I'm not going to lie, when I get into the groove of things and I'm painting away, I mean, I do like to put details into my models, you know, and don't get me wrong, I give every model the best love and care I can give, but every once in a while there's a spot you miss, you know, and I'm sure if you look at any piece of art, Da Vinci, or, you know, some of those church, you know, church ceiling paintings that's really famous in whatever part of the world, I can't remember at the moment. But if you take a look at those, I'm sure there's little mistakes and missed bits here and there. So I tend to make sure that at least there's the primer on the model, you know, all over, because it'll look much more coherent. All right, we're looking ready for the battlefield, sir. I always have a bit of an irrational fear. What? Okay, yeah. Let's. What a twist! Yeah, right there. Tail of the Manticore, right on. Oh, Mythos. I appreciate it. Thank you, friend. What do you make your barbecue scrapers out of? Barbecue scrapers. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Is that one of the tools around barbecue scrapers? I mean, I just kind of buy them and they've got, you know, metal, you know, it's like a metal brush, right? You know, barbecue scraper. Elaborate and I shall respond, friend. Their road march, yeah, let me know. Barbecue scrapers. I'm trying out a barbecue scraper. Oh, you're talking. Oh. Sorry, it's not all about you, Bill. It's not all about you. We're having a conversation on this side. Good lord. Ah. I'm I'm trying to speed through these guys and I'm lollygagging on the chat here. Yeah, gotcha. I made some barbecue scrapers yesterday. Okay, gotcha. Very nice. Yeah, cedar barbecue scrapers are very nice, especially on something like a Blackstone. I love me a Blackstone grill. I don't have one, but I've cooked on them before. Oh my gosh, are those things luxurious. Literally like having a diner griddle in your backyard for you and your friends. It's a very nice piece of kit. You shouldn't be too far off on this guy either. I think he's... Oh, yeah, well, yeah, for sure. It's my rule of thumb that if it ain't primed, I'm not painting it. Mainly just because the paint sticks so much better. And I have not found any paints that are like primer, paint and primer in one for like modeling. So I would say like, yeah, make sure you prime your models. It'll make life so much easier on you if you prime them. It's kind of ridiculous. And, you're going to be putting down layers of paint on this, and it's just going to that acrylic is going to adhere really nicely and make your paint job so that if you do drop the models and you're like me where I don't seal my personal models. If I'm going to send send models out to somebody, I'm going to have them primed and painted and then sealed with like a matte varnish or a gloss varnish or whatever kind of varnish I'm going to finish with. But they will, like, if you're like me and you don't seal them, you'll still get really good protection on your models if you, with hard play and handling, or if you drop them on the floor, the paint's not just going to slough off. So we're going to go ahead here. We're going to get a couple more things done. Dungeon Minister, if you're still in here, I know you've got a meeting at some point here, and I haven't kept track of what time it might be your neck of the woods. But if you could send me an address in Discord, send me an address that I can bring you some stuff, because I believe we're gonna be I'm gonna be making an order to Mantic soon, and I'd like to get you some dungeon doors for your keep, because they're actually really cool sculpts. So let me know. Nice. Nice. We have 7 folks watching PML tonight. Thanks for being here, everybody. These are like these mechanized dudes. I saw these in the game. They're kind of like lobotomized guys in power armor kind of thing going on. And I've got some really cool ideas for these guys. I'm going to try and paint it to the set and setting too. So, I'm not I'm not going to deviate too far from it, but I'm thinking these like shocky, there's like these power relay looking nubules. We use very scientific terms here on PML. Most of our words are made up and the points don't matter. But these little electrical nubules here on the back end, we're going to do some source lighting on those. Make them look like they're glowing, because I just think that'd be cool. The other thing about doing priming with the airbrush is that, like, especially here in a cold climate, in Minnesota, you can't always go outside and use a rattle can to prime your minis. So, like, miniature painters and stuff around here, like, summertime, they will literally take, and when they, you know, go and return to their pile of shame, they will print, or not print, but they'll prime their models in huge batches so that they can sit inside and paint them in the winter months. That's always fun. It's like people make parties out of it and stuff. These hard-edged characters are always kind of fun because you have to play with them all over the place to get the primer in the right place. Make sure that red doesn't poke out from the original plastic color. Dungeon Minister, I hope I think, was it Fleetwood, got his hands on the Hill Giant. I'd love to see it when he finishes it up. I told him he could take it if he finishes it. I'd be very chuffed to see how he does all of the, does the pants and stuff. Clog up the nozzles and the thing would end up sitting unused. Hey, we can show you how to use it. Don't worry. It's not, honestly, airbrushing isn't as hard or problem prone as people think. Literally, I break down my airbrushes maybe once a year for hardcore maintenance, and that's after hundreds of hours of painting. I mean, we're probably getting close to that now with quote-unquote Season 2 of PML here, but okay, it's the underside of this. I think this guy's good. Gotta do his base though. I'm not a fan of brick bases, especially when they have super deep grooves in them, because they're really hard to try and push the paint in. You essentially gotta get it at just the right angle to push the primer into these grooves. So that's kind of fun. As I'm doing half of this on the bottom third of the screen. I'm sorry, friends. You over there for now. What's shaking in Chicago land? What's going on, Lightmane? How you doing? I've been trying to get a hold of you on Discord there, Lightmane. I got some propositions for you. Christmas break, school scouts, ventures, violin, and 2 D&D game groups. Yeah, talk about a busy flipping schedule. All right, I'd say okay. Gotta enjoy being a kid while you can. What's shaking in Chicagoland? Well, I mean, not quite in Chicagoland. I was in Chicagoland though. Seemed like everything was doing just fine in Chicagoland. Nothing crazy to report there. Just I went and saw my uncle's motorcycle collection out in Chicagoland area. I stayed overnight there on my way to and from Claricon to see my aunt and uncle that lived there. My dad's side of the family's from there. And he has downsized a bit, but he's starting a new and ambitious project. He's building another motorcycle from scratch, which my aunt is pleased about. Not quite. She's been trying to get him to downsize his collection a little bit. At one point, he had like 14 bikes, I think. But that's kind of his passion there. I paint minis and stuff, and he builds ridiculously cool motorcycles. I mean, ridiculously cool motorcycles. But his newest acquisition that he's going to be stripping and rebuilding, aside from the one that he's building from scratch, is a 1942 Harley Davidson. I think it's a shovelhead. So he's going to be kind of more like restoring that motorcycle. But that was the last I heard about Chicagoland. That, and they took my money for tolls. Gotta love the Illinois tollway. Every 15 seconds, we're gonna take a picture of your license plate, send it to you, and make you pay tolls. Gotta love it. Oh man. You know, at some point, I think this weekend. Yeah, not everything's about you, Billy. Oh boy. I think this weekend I really need to sleep in. This working out stuff every day is killing me when it comes to my mental clarity by this point in the night. But we're working. We're doing the Kansas City paint shuffle hustle going on over here. Sorry about that, Lightmane. Didn't mean to steal your thunder. Doing it again. LOL! I think I sent you a message a little while back there on Discord, Lightmane. Not sure exactly when, but if you check that within the next day or two here, I'll have some more information for you as well. I'll just make sure to send you a bit more detail on what I was. I think I sent you that stuff, but yeah, just keep your eye on Discord the next 24, 48 hours. I'll have something for you if I didn't already send it. I'm a little fuzzy. It was quite a while back. These little rivet guys are killing me. No biggie. Cool. I really enjoyed your deck review, too, of your Dragon's deck. I had never heard of that game, but it was really fun kind of listening to some of the combos and such that you were trying to put together in there. Okay, come on. It's a little bit more primer than I'd like, but trying to get them in these cracks and crevices is always fun. I'm gonna call this guy good, I think. Oh, we need a little bit more on his shins. Yeah. Wyvern, yeah, that was the name of it. Nice road march. Next time I talk to him, I'll have to send him that. That's pretty funny. You know, I bet my aunt would get a kick out of that one too. It's funny. She's got her own like mini collection too, because she's got I think 2 motorcycles of her own. The first motorcycle she ever bought, she still got, and then she's got a like one of those slingshots, I think they're called, but they're like a trike with 3 wheels, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. Kind of looks like a mini Batmobile. And I got to ride that with her. It was such a blast. It was like something out of a Tom Petty album or something, because it was we took a ride just kind of evening. It wasn't dusk, but like kind of sunset time. Absolutely zooming at speeds I think my parents would deem uncomfortable. Going down Illinois roadways, breakneck speeds in this slingshot. She sure knows how to drive, though. I'll give her that. I used to do, kind of on a side note, as I see you guys are talking about Wyvern. That was a game I didn't have any exposure on, but I had exposure to Magic the Gathering. And I had modified a salesman's briefcase to hold all of my decks and then all of my kind of like common cards and stuff that I had collected. I put like wooden square dowels in it and stuff, and the pockets in there, I don't know what this person or what this salesman's briefcase had in it prior, but the pockets in the top are like the lid, underneath the lid. They had they were just big enough that you could fit sleeved 60 card decks in there, and there was like a whole bunch of them. So I had all my decks organized in there, and when I'd go to school, I'd stash that thing in my locker. As soon as the lunch bell rang, we'd go and play Magic the Gathering at like right there at the lunch tables, and it was like way too much fun. I got really addicted to that quick. We'd play for, we call them pink slip matches, but we'd play like essentially we'd set aside 2 cards that we wanted from each person, and whoever won the game, or we'd take them back if time ran out, but whoever won the game essentially would get to keep those cards from the other people. I got really good at it really quick, and I didn't even have a ton of money for it. It was just lucky draws on packs every now and then, and I'd be able to create a pretty decent deck. I didn't always win, but when I did, I made out like a bandit, to the point where I needed a salesman's briefcase for it all. Another strange point in my life. Yeah. Oh, hey. Well, good to hear from you, Lightmane. Thanks for being here, and yeah, I'll be in touch with you real soon. I look forward to talking to you about a couple things. Me and Sarah were talking about some pictures that we saw, and she called it the flower of life, but this geometric pattern that we saw out in the world today. And I instantly recognized it. I was like, what is this picture? Because I've seen this before. She's like, oh, wait, what, you have? Because she's kind of into some of that stuff, the interesting kind of geometric patterns and things. And I was like, yeah, I've seen that pattern before. And it instantly came to my mind, Sonoda from BSG Games when I went to Claricon. It's a really cool strategic dice game. I'm hoping at some point in the future I can get some U.S. distribution for Sonoda, because it is just a really cool coffee table game that you could pick up and play with just about anybody. It's one of those easy pickup, hard to master. You use D4s essentially as kind of checkers pieces, so to speak. It's very cool. It's very cool. I'll have to do a rundown on it on the channel at some point here very soon. But I got to get in touch with Bill at BSG too. So we have some very nice primed models now for our next stream. What are we sitting at for time? We're sitting at about 55 minutes. We're gonna see just how long we can last tonight. That workout on the treadmill had me pretty gassed. What are these guys? I'm not sure. Looks like we might have to do a little model or little mold line removal on a couple of them. Got 9 folks watching the stream tonight. Hello, hello. Where are y'all coming from? Yeah, mainly just YouTube. I have not picked up anybody yet on Twitch. I think I've seen every now and then just one or two people pop in from Twitch, but it's pretty sporadic. We're just gonna keep bringing these guys out. If a little extra primer gets on the back ones, that's a-okay. When you prime with an airbrush, if a little overspray hits another model, it's not the end of the world, but like for rattle can wise, you can just, if you are not far away enough or you dump too much paint on the models, you end up kind of with globby miniatures that people can struggle reading exactly what that is. Oh, we've got another one of our standard troops there. Okay, and then these dudes are like super heavies or something. Cool. Calvinoni, what you painting? Tell us about it. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. Love to hear what's on your paint desk tonight. The man with a million models. Calvinoni, the one and only. I'm gonna kind of this way. Yeah, these guys just have a little bit of mold line on them. I think we may have to just really quick touch that up. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. Where's my X-Acto set? Here we go. Yeah, Twitch is a hard market to kind of get into. The YouTube love around here is strong. Black Devils. That sounds like a book my mom read to me as a kid about dental hygiene, because she was a dental hygienist, and that was like her shtick. Was dental hygiene, and they had these plaque monsters or something that you could cut out of the book, and kind of play with. So I do remember that. I don't think I'm going to do much more than that when it comes to the whole mold line thing. We're just going to get some of the mold lines off of the most obvious places real quick here, because I have primer in my color cup and I don't want it to dry on the nozzle or in the nozzle passageways. So I'm just going to kind of speedy. It's mainly their helmet, because you're going to be looking down on these guys. And if they have that giant mold line on there, I'd rather not see that in the final product. So we're just going to help them out real quick. Give them a little haircut. Now, if I was doing these as centerpieces, I probably would, like, drill into them and give them some battle damage. But they're not my models, so I'm not doing that. But it would be kind of cool to give these guys a bit more experience, so to speak, make them look a bit more rugged. But we're doing these guys kind of parade ground style. They're the guards that haven't seen the action yet. Oh, Plague Devils. Plague Devils. Gotcha. Brian, if you're out there, because Brian did send me a message on Discord. He said his comments weren't working for some reason, but if you're out there, Brian, I hope you don't mind that your minis are getting a little bit of extra love and care with this whole mold line shenanigans. I just tend to move the X-Acto knife just kind of horizontally on the model. I know some folks can, they've got really steady hands and they can kind of actually cut through it, but I can't. I don't have that kind of skill. It's looking a bit better. A couple more to do. Then we can kind of get back to our priming here. That looks a bit better. Well, this guy has got his mold line right on the helmet, and it's like not quite the way I would have liked. It's alright. Cool. All right. We're back off to the races, friends. Here we go. Luckily, that extra little bit of thinner is kind of helping out my favor here. I think this is the last group of guys I'm going to do tonight, just because I can already feel myself start to... I'm getting a little bit drained. I do a lot of heavy lifting at work, and then, well, not really today, but some days I do a decent amount of heavy lifting. But, you know, you get off the day job and doing the whole workout thing, I get fried pretty quick now. It's been kind of nice, though. It's reset my circadian rhythm by back to a normal time. I used to be able to stream till like 11 o'clock. People would still tune in for that. But currently, I don't think I have that in me. Like, but I'll be on tomorrow night as well for some more PML goodness. We're gonna be actually painting these guys up, so not just one color of gray. Yay! We're gonna be making sure that we make these guys look very nice. So you can tune in for that at 8 o'clock Central Time. You know, you can hit the bell thing and do all the YouTube stuff to get notified of it in your time zone, just to make your life a little bit easier. You can also find the corrected time zone for your, or like, what is it, time zone converted event in Discord too, the PML Discord, which is a fun community. Cal likes to put all of his wonderful paint jobs in there. We have some other artists that put their mini paint ups in the PML Discord as well. So there's always something to Google at. And feel free to ask questions in there and talk shop about painting. You know, if you need a hand with X, Y, and Z technique, let me know. I can give you my 2 cents or kind of explain it out to you the best I can. That might be a different fried. There you go. I think these guys are maybe like heavy gunner or shock troops. I think they feel like their sculpts are kind of feeling like shock troops. As you're focused in on my airbrush instead of the actual mini, sorry. Mythos can probably attest to how tough it is to deal with the cinematography side of doing a miniature painting show. It's actually pretty difficult because you're trying to focus on painting and then doing, you know, your model and whatnot, and you're also trying to make sure that everybody can kind of see what you're doing. It's a fun balance, that is. Kind of got to move these guys everywhere to get every little nook and cranny, so to speak, so that none of that original red shows. Because it's just going to be such a eyesore if that stuff's sticking out. All right. We're basically there with that guy. A little bit more on his gun there. Boop. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 more minis to go. Yeah. Gotta love this struggle. I basically portioned out just the right amount of primer for this. I might have just a little bit left over, but not much. Right. The end of the night is upon me, though. The commentary slows down. The brain gets a little foggy. Really like to get through these guys, though, before... I'm just gonna kind of push that paint in there a little bit. But I would really like to get all of these guys done so that I can paint them up and throw the next batch in for priming. Would be great. At another point, we're gonna do some actual painting on these guys tomorrow night. But just for future me. You are looking very sharp. Yeah, I think it's for the board game playability side because, not everybody is going to take the time to actually paint these. I think very few board games people take the time to actually paint the minis on, even if they're themed, Game of Thrones or whatever the heck. Most people aren't going to paint those, it's just going to be red team, blue team, whatever. But in this case where these minis are, they're detailed. They're actually really good, and they're detailed enough between paintability and playability. But I will admit, it would have been nice if they were any other color but red. It's so hard to red stinks so bad as a plastic color for a painter, because I really got to make sure all of this is covered. If it's not, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So I gotta definitely make sure extra careful and make sure that everything is covered. I mean, as much as I bash GW, they made a super smart play, and I think a lot of other manufacturers do too, where they will make their stuff in gray plastic. Because at least if you prime it black, you're good. White is a little bit more tricky, but if you prime your stuff black, even if there's still a bit of plastic showing, because even though I go to the point where the primer is all, is essentially a second skin on the model, and you see the actual gray color, the primer is landing everywhere. The chemical makeup of this, you don't necessarily have to prime it all. The primer itself, the acrylic binder, will land everywhere when you throw it through an airbrush. However, that's just kind of the standard I do things too. But if you see any ounce of red in here, it's going to be just an eyesore. People will pick it up instantly, since it's not going to look really nice with any other. Yeah, like right here, there's a little bit between some looped wiring or cables or something he's got going on underneath his legs. Gotta be careful of that stuff. But the sculpts are amazing on these models. Again, just a delight to paint between the readability of the model and like the level of detail, because you can go overboard on the detail on a model and it'll look absolutely astounding when it comes off of the when you put it together and it's off the sprue. But then to paint every little detail on that takes forever. And it's just a pain. It's like, yeah, I get it that this is a shield and whatnot, but like, save me as a painter and, maybe make that symbology just a little less, so that I can focus my attention on making sure the model gets done, not that every detail and nook and cranny is taken care of with your ridiculously scrolly embellishments on the shield or whatever. But these ones are just the right amount between detail and paintability in my point of view, if that's anything to go off of. I feel like it needs to become some kind of PML inside joke. That red plastic. Is that like a social situation, a red plastic social situation? Something you had to go to, but like you knew was going to be an absolute dumpster fire? The really bratty niece's quinceañera party that you were, kind of obliged through family to go and do, but you absolutely didn't want to because she would ruin it for herself. And what do you know she did? It's a red plastic moment. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here, friends. If you got any other ideas, let's hear it. I should do that too. Put out a Paint Minis live, just kind of a gag book of painter sayings, painter lingo for the uninitiated. I bet that'd be a great holiday gift idea. Stay away from Rabute Gilliman. He's all trim and detail. Well, I'll tell you what. I did one better. I haven't worked on it in a while, but I do have a sculpt of the Emperor of Mankind in heroic scale. So he's a bit bigger, a bit more Primarchy size. He's actually way bigger than a Primarch, but I do have a model of the Emperor of Mankind to paint on PML, and I am dreading it because all gold, all trim. Got to figure out what you're gonna do with that. Like, I'm not quite looking as forward to it as I am when I hit the buy button on that sucker. But I'm sure it'll be a very fun paint job nonetheless. We're almost done. We got 4 more dudes. You'd never do another? Yeah, I probably wouldn't either. It sounds oddly specific. Honestly, that was just off the top of my head. I've only been to one quinceañera party. I was invited. It was a neighborhood girl. But she was so sweet, though. She's like, she's just a very sweet person. I know that was going to go off without a hitch. But I feel, in my mind, I was like, well, what would be a bad situation? And for whatever reason, it kind of brought me there. And I was like, well, what if she was just a total raging blankety blank? That would have sucked. I would have had to go and, deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. It's a red plastic moment. It's a red plastic moment, friends. We might actually be scraping the bottom of a barrel on primer here soon. Okay, come on. Put the primer in there. There we go. Got to kind of force it in with a little extra air pressure. Yeah, I hear that, Frost and Fists. I honestly, the only thing that I have on the PML paint schedule so far that is actually for me is the Essex Dragon that I picked up from Claricon. It's a lead cast model from 1983, and that is literally the only for me project. Everything else is going somewhere. It's going to somebody. It's going to be somebody else's stuff. It gets away from you, for sure. Like, oh yeah, I could probably whip that up in, a couple weeks or whatever. And then life starts to get in the way. You got your day job going on, and then now you're essentially, your entire paint schedule is booked up for the next year. And not a bad problem to have, but at some point I'll be putting out tokens that you can buy on the PML website if you do care to get a model professionally painted. I'm going to use that term professional very loosely. You're still paying me to do it, but I'll be actually getting professional training from Kenny Boucher from Next Level Painting. He's going to be my mentor for to get some accreditation. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Get some college credits, so to speak, for miniature painting, and have a little bit of extra training on my resume when it comes to painting. That way people don't, people know that I'm taking this a bit more seriously than just amateur hour. But I'll be putting out tokens, that way I don't overload myself with paint projects. So I'll have, maybe small mini tokens where you would, if you want to get a miniature painted, you could buy six small mini tokens, and then when the stock's out, the stock's out. And that would be, just for a guy like this. That's one small mini token for the PML paint desk. And then, I'll have a couple for larger models or maybe a group of them. That way I don't overload myself. And I can change the stock on those tokens how I see fit so that I can make sure that every model has its day at the spa, so to speak, and it's well cared for and well painted. Each of them has the correct amount of time to make it something truly special. Hey, you went with the bulk buy. There you go, evolution of gaming. You went with the bulk buy. Now don't let it sit there. You'll regret that faster than you'd know. I'm glad to hear you're painting it tonight. Very cool. Yeah, Kenny does some mean Blood Angels. He also does some mean demons and stuff, as well as like, what are they? Oh boy. Like noise marines and stuff. That's like right up his alley. He goes super vibrant with his paint schemes. I'm a little bit more toned down in my paint style, but all of his tips and tricks and stuff are relevant across the board. And I've got hours with him now. Since I haven't had the time to actually sit down with him, which I should. I might have to stream that. I don't know. We'll see. Or make a video series of learning to paint by Kenny Boucher. Heck, I even asked him if he'd teach me how to make a quiche, and he was like, "Yeah, man. If you're on board with this, I'll teach you how to make a quiche. Like, we'll do some crazy stuff and put that out there in the world." So who knows? But I'm really excited about it. I've got hours built up with him now. So that'll be fun. We're basically at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to primer. We're getting really close to the bottom of the paint cup. I have to start rationing this out a little bit. That red plastic is the bane of my existence, friends. Whatever Kenny touches is gold. Yeah, that dude's... He's got some good stuff going on. That's for sure. The Midas touch of mini painting. Alright. We'll stick you over here. We got 2 more dudes left. Bought it separate but fell behind. I hear that. I still have I have a box of Blade Guard veterans that I was supposed to like paint up with Mythos and HOUND's Armory as a paint and compare challenge. And I haven't even broken that box open. It's sad. It's sad, friends. But I'm going to get through that pile of shame, I'm telling you. PML is back in action and in a big way. Am I out of primer? Oh my god, I'm basically out of primer. Good lord. And I have a bit of a tip clog too. Or a nozzle clog. Nozzle clog! Instead of Mazel Tov. That's the Paint Minis Live version of it. Nozzle clog. Just make sure the next time you're at a bris or a synagogue sanctioned event, you don't actually say nozzle clog. No, I think he's pretty public about his prices. He charges about $100 an hour for paint lessons, specifically for me. I wanted the kind of hardcore, in-depth stuff. So, and I mean, dude can charge it for sure. You know, that kind of knowledge and prep stuff is not. It's not. You know, you're paying him for his practice, his years of practice at that point to teach you how to do commission painting and how to price it, how to run. Essentially, it's a business class is what he's teaching. So, and how he's managed to run his commission studio, which for me is pretty priceless because as somebody that wants to kind of do that same thing, we're like out of primer. How does that happen? I'm sure that I put like way too much in there, and it's like there we go. I think we just got a little bit of a clog going here. But yeah, he charges $100 an hour for professional paint lessons, and again, just runs you through a business school, so to speak. And kind of teaches you everything that he does from his shading techniques all the way up to his some of the super advanced like wet blending and color, some of the more abstract color theory, second, like tertiary paint schemes and so on and so forth. Man, I have a clog going something nuts up in here. That's all kind of stuff that I've dabbled in already, but not to the extent that he's got the understanding of. When it comes to actually cranking it out in a fashion where you can do tricolor paint schemes or dual color paint schemes in a fast manner and paint up like 6 squads in a night kind of shenanigans, and they look like centerpiece models, each individual one of them. I think, dang, yeah, I am out of primer. So I guess I'm gonna leave it there for tonight. These guys are just they're gonna be on the next batch of minis to prime for me. But we have all of these dudes knocked out of the park, so that's pretty cool. If you're worth it, they'll come back. Heck yeah. When it comes to my, when I get around to doing my own commission work, I plan on being pretty reasonable with it because I know that already you're spending money on buying the models or whatnot. And I also know too that it can be kind of tough for some folks to get up the money if they really want a service like that. I mean, yeah, you kind of target your audience for sure, but I'm gonna need my own, essentially my own client base and my own portfolio, so to speak, of folks that have already had models painted. So if you're interested in getting something painted from PML, and when I announce that those tokens are getting launched, make sure that you stick your name in there early before all the prices go up as time goes on. I really shouldn't have turned off the spray booth if I'm gonna spray a bunch of thinner through this airbrush. So if you happen to have any questions, now would be the time. about anything you saw here tonight, because I will probably be calling it quits here shortly. I'm just gonna do a down and dirty clean out on my airbrush here. I think this thing's got a bit of a... I'm gonna need to do a bit more of a detailed disassembly soon. So I'm going to show you how I go ahead and clean out an airbrush after priming. So the camera's going to go a little bit wonky here as I kind of give you a different shot. You can see how much primer that I sprayed on my glove. I tend to make sure that I keep the primer flowing, because otherwise you end up with clogs and tip dry and all kinds of fun shenanigans. But I've got my dirty brush here, and I'm just gonna start putting some water in the color cup. And I've got, this is just a tattoo artist's squeezy bottle, so it's got a dipper in here that'll take water from all the way at the bottom. You just kind of squeeze that bad boy, and you get a nice stream of water that comes out. And I'm gonna rinse out the color cup. Here's your educational segment of PML, beyond just me jabberjawing. Now, as you can kind of see in here, if I can get a kind of close up. No, it's just going to be a black circle. But there's a lot of primer that's actually been that's dried in the color cup as it's gone down. You know, kind of like beer in a glass. When you see the foam lines on it as you've been drinking it, and that foam kind of dries and sticks. Now I've got, I just take a sponge in there and ream it out, and now you can kind of see the reflectiveness come back. And you'll also see a lot of these little gunkety deposits in here. And I'll just take my glove and start scooping those out, because those will cause clogs in the nozzle. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Sapphire? Good to see you. Good to see you. We just got done with a whole bunch of priming for some Wolfenstein models tonight, so that was a lot of fun. I'm happy to see you. I know it feels like forever, but we're back in the lab doing our thing. Now that the Paint Minis Live online hobby shop is out in the world, we can finally redevote some time to actually painting again and being on stream. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just to make sure that there's a couple little bits of primer that's stuck in the bottom. I'll show you. Maybe it'll show up here if I put like my phone. I'm gonna use the flashlight on my phone, I think, to show this off. Little boopity. Let's see, one hand over the other. So, come on in here, real close. You're gonna want to see this. So, if I can kind of train my hand right, you'll see in the bottom of my color cup, which is a little bit dirty, see down in there that there still is some gray goop and little bits of stuff just kind of hanging out in there. I'm gonna blast that out with the with that squeezy bottle. Yeah, I hear that. I hope James F. Keck is doing well. I do miss him too. His games were a heck of a lot of fun. So now, I'm just gonna get that out of there. We're gonna remove our needle from the back end of the brush, and oh, look at all that fun stuff on there. Don't worry, we'll get that cleaned off super quick. Careful with the needle, kids. You don't want to go down the path of accidentally sticking that into yourself. Trust me, I know from experience, you stick that needle up in your hand or your finger, it'll hit right, it'll go right to bone. I've got, at this point, I've taken the needle, or this is part of the nozzle assembly here, but this is just a little bit that holds this guy in, and this is this guy right here is the nozzle itself. It's really, really small. I'm gonna actually move my cup out of the way so it doesn't drop in there, but so we're gonna go ahead and undo that. And I can usually prime with this airbrush like a dozen times or so before I actually have to do this whole procedure. As long as you make sure that you rinse it out well and then you spray some water or thinner through it, like you're spraying paint. As long as you do that, your tool's gonna stay clean for the most part. You'll have to do some hardcore maintenance every now and then, don't get me wrong, but yeah. So there we go. That bad boy came out. Looks like we got a whole bunch of stuff in there to clean. So now, this is how small that component is. And you use that essentially to get your paint to the point where it atomizes. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab this crazy looking prison shank. You can find these on Amazon, wherever the heck, but this essentially is a ridiculously sharp needle point that you use to scoop out any leftover primer from this nozzle. And I just use a little bit of pressure and twirl it around. I don't want to use a ton of pressure though, because that needle, it'll widen the opening. I actually have to take my gloves off to clean this. But that opening in there is so small that you can widen it by shoving this cleaning tool in there too far. So I'm just going to spin that around on this, and that'll loosen up any paint that's in there. And then I can kind of pluck it out really carefully. Fun stuff. Super educational stuff on PML here tonight. Some of these will have a nylon liner in them. Those ones you have to be a bit more careful with. This cheap Chinese knockoff, though, is all premium Chinesium, so I am not afraid to give it a good once over. Okay. So that should have cleaned out any junk and gunk. I'm going to make sure I put that someplace safe. I'm going to turn you guys over here just a little bit because I'm working more over in this direction. There's also just a tiny little black washer in here too. That creates a good seal inside of here, and now I'm going to use the same tool. Doesn't look like there's anything stuck in here. This you can plug away at though and kind of get it all the way through. Alright. Sweet. Let me get that trigger assembly back in place. Come on. Get back where you're supposed to go here. There we go. Gotta love this stuff. Ooh. Alright, haven't used it yet. Send them my way if you need some help, or you know, you're always available to ask questions here or there, Safi. Be more than happy to help. I really should do an Airbrush 101 course or something for PML. I haven't gotten around to that just because I've been like deadbeat busy. But that's something that I would like to get around to. Alright. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, definitely send her our way. We'll teach her how to use it. And how to make really good looking minis. Alright. So now in order to clean the nozzle, it took me a minute to get that trigger back in place, but now to clean the nozzle part of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this sponge here, and I'm going to put airbrush thinner. You could use acrylic thinner for this, any kind of thinner. I've used this, I use this Vallejo stuff, but I've also used, I'll probably end up using this, to be honest. This is kind of my go-to because I've had it for a while, but this like Aztec or Testers, as long as it says acryl on there, universal acrylic thinner, you're good to go. But this stuff is just going to clean up that the actual needle part of it. And just inject it right into the... It's like a turkey basting or something. I'm not afraid to put a little bit extra on the tabletop here, to be honest. I could use some to clean up. But now we're going to just away from the point. Always away from the point. That way you're never sticking it in you, you're always taking it away from you. And you're safe and happy. And you don't have any pokes or sticks. And you can see how quickly that needle starts to get clean. It looks like might be time for a new needle soon too. These Chinese ones don't really last quite as long as I'd like, but I think this is a needle that's going on about a year now. So, okay, for reassembly here, we've got our tiny, like super tiny black washer, and we're gonna seat that. Literally, that's how big that washer is, right there on my finger. Is acetone too harsh? Acetone would be like the last thing I'd use, but you could use it. It's probably not going to help not hurt anything. How to take it apart and how to clean it? Yeah, it's kind of like learning how to strip a firearm, or like how to take apart a fishing reel to like oil it and get it back into service, or something like that. You know, it's the same kind of deal. But once you've done one of them, you kind of get the idea on the other, like on the rest of them. So I put that black washer back in the right place, and now we've got our tiny little actual nozzle part of it that the needle goes into. Yeah, I would as far as acetone goes, because of the, you know, most of these, even the cheaper ones, because of the seals, the like little rubber seals that are in here. Actually, I think I did that in the wrong order. See, even the best of us make mistakes. I'm not saying I'm the best either, but even the acetone will take these little black rubber washers here, and eventually, it'll just dry them out quicker, and you'll have to replace them more often. And it's not really the funnest thing in the world to try and get these things onto the components when they're so small. It's doable, but yeah, I gotta take my gloves off. Especially when they crack on you, and then you have to try and pick out the little pieces of rubber. That's when it's really difficult. Or it'll seize your nozzle. I've had that happen before too, where I didn't change the little rubber gaskets on the nozzle, and then it really kind of started to stink because I couldn't get it off. I had to just bite the bullet, spend the extra couple bucks, and get a new washer kit, or a whole new airbrush, because the washer had kind of come off of it. Good lord, you're gonna be this kind of a pain in my butt tonight. This is why I only do a deep clean like once a year. Need like a pair of needle nose pliers or something to get this back on. Thought I was being smarticle particle putting it in first, but I'm not. Come on. Not all airbrushes are built like this either. Again, this is a super cheap airbrush. God, do I even need this thing on here? I don't know. We might be able to just line it up just right. Get it in there. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this screwed back in here, hopefully. Hopefully she'll catch. All right. I'm just gonna bite the bullet. We're losing the washer on this bad boy. I've got another one that I can stick in there if I absolutely dead set on needing it. We buy large cans because the oldest does a lot with gel nails, so there's plenty on hand. More trouble, so maybe more trouble than it's worth. Yeah, it's just harder on your equipment. That's all. So, if you're gonna be doing that, it would be a little bit harder. Using mild heat could help release the drying gummy bond to the metal. May help. Sure could, but then you're gonna melt those seals again. The only real good way to do it is with I have one here. This is the best way that I found. This was like a super cheap. It's a little bit dusty right now, but a super cheap ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. You stick the main body of your airbrush in there once it's disassembled. Let that sucker run for a good bit, and you should be good to go. I've not had and that'll clean out basically the whole thing. The ultrasonic vibrations will clean it out. It's just like a actual ring or a piece of jewelry. So you don't have to worry about any type of damage to your airbrush. But that'll keep the seals where it is. I use simple green, so like all green. You could probably find it under other names, but like just a 100% biodegradable soap solution, kind of concentrated stuff. I throw that in there and then I water it down by like 30%. So I keep it really strong, and that takes care of all of it. And I do that once a year. Because, as you can see, disassembling some of these little bits and pieces, it can be a pain. Other times it's a lot easier. I'll tell you this much: the more you spend on an airbrush, the easier it can be to clean. This Harder and Steenbeck Infinity is a dream to clean. This premium Chinesium startairbrush.com, I think, is the only thing written on it that I can see. This one's much more difficult to clean, and I have to be a lot more careful with it. But it's a great airbrush for like priming or throwing a ridiculous amount of paint down on something, because I just don't want to. I don't really want to clean this all the time. So I can let that set, and I don't have to worry quite as much about exactly what I'm doing. So, yeah, that's basically now we should be totally clean and ready to go too. If I throw the airbrush compressor on, we're gonna throw a little water in there and just make sure everything gets flushed out just a tiny bit. Is painting on occasion harder on the airbrush than using it regularly? No, not really. It's just make sure that you do a quick clean. Yeah, that'd work too. Iwata makes great stuff for basically anything airbrush. Iwata just makes good stuff. So does Harder and Steenbeck, though. I'm kind of a Harder and Steenbeck fanboy. And it's just because that was the first one I picked up. I still have it around here somewhere, but I have my Harder and Steenbeck. I do have it up here. This was my first ever airbrush, the Harder and Steenbeck Ultra. And it's been through hell with me through many a year, and at some point I should really use this on the stream. I should get it back in working order. It needs a couple of things done to it, but to get it back up to shape. But this one is like probably $120, $150, somewhere in there. If you're kind of moving up into that mid-range hobbyist kind of thing, that's where I'd point you. But Iwata makes great stuff. Grex is on the rise, and then yeah, those kind of things. Yeah, painting on occasion isn't really going to hurt your equipment, as long as you you make sure that you clean it at the end of your painting session, and it doesn't have to be a deep clean. Again, do we have pressure in here? I'll show you exactly what I do. We're going to use a little bit of, that's transparent paint. Sure, we'll use bright neutral gray. We'll put a little bit of flow improver in here. We'll run through the process just real quick. Got a little bit of flow improver. I'm going to do a drop of paint. This is how quick the end of session cleanup should be with your airbrush. We're gonna actually mix the paint in the color cup real quick. We're working with a really small amount of material in here, so it takes a minute to all recongeal. There we go. Okay. So I don't know what YouTube has on their policy. I better not use that. We'll use this piece of cardboard here real quick, but we're painting, we're putting a whole bunch of stuff down on our model. And now it's time to clean up and, have dinner or whatever. So the first thing I do is I get my paper cup over here. Any kind of cup will do, but I use paper because I can throw them out when they get like super dirty. I'll take my little squirt bottle here. You could use a spray bottle, whatever you got. I'll squirt and just start dump the paint out until the water runs clear. It's probably just a couple of times. There's not like a ton of water I'm putting in here, but basically about that. There we go. So now the water in the color cup is coming out completely clear. The next thing I'll do, now that all of that stuff is out of there, I'll take and I'll put my sponge back on the tip. Be really careful because I don't use a needle, like a needle safety guard or anything. I'll start bubbling it. You'll see it'll bring back all of the stuff that was in the chamber that the paint starts to atomize in that nozzle. Couple more squirts, we're done. Water's running clear. The last bit, I use a discharge pot for this. You don't have to. But then I'll spray it in the cup until I see that the stream starts running clear. And it's maybe just a little bit more. Okay, and you're done. That's it. Your airbrush is clean. Stow it away till next time, and you should be good to go. That's literally how. That's my end of session cleanup for my airbrush. That's all I do. And then again, once a year, I give these a bath in the ultrasonic. I literally take it apart. You don't have to take all of the components apart. Like, there's going to be stuff that doesn't, touch the paint. This handle guard here is not going to touch the paint. This needle chuck is not going to touch the paint. I can take it off. I can actually take off the entire back assembly of this and take the spring that's in here out. I can take the trigger out. I can take this air regulator out. Anything that's touching the paint, though, goes right into the ultrasonic cleaner. It cleans overnight or however long I set it for. I usually run them longer than I should, but I just like to make sure they're super clean. And then you take them out, you reassemble it, and you're back in business. And that's just kind of a once a year thing for me. It doesn't have to be super crazy. The LGS, I got it from Hadawada. Got it. Cool. Yeah, making sure you flush it out is good. And then, yeah, just a tattoo artist squirt bottle is what I use for doing that. Boop. Gotta catch up to the chat. The hobby compressor is very nice and quiet. Yeah, I use a Posh. What is this? D3000R air compressor. It's like a 2 liter tank on it. If you're doing work on miniatures, I recommend go to spraygunner.com, pick up their no-name Tootie. I think they call it Tootie. Air brush compressor. Get it with a tank though. Because when you have a compressor and it's you don't have a tank on it, that piston's going up and down. And when you're doing fine detail work on models like these, you end up, it's like a dotted spray pattern. So you can't get a nice even transition across your model. Yeah, all right. Well, good to see you there, Safi. Thanks for coming around. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Be careful with the tip so it doesn't get bent. Oh yeah. Don't want to get bends like a diver. Don't bend your tip. I know we all might swing a little left or to the right, but try not to get the bends on your needle. With that being said, though, I think I am overdue for a little R&R myself. I do appreciate everybody for coming out. Thank you, Safi. Thank you, Evolution of Gaming. Thank you, Frost and Fist. Thank you to Tail of the Manticore was a huge surprise. Like, we had Tail of the Manticore on here. Would you guys believe it? It's like kind of a little celebrity to me. Road March, Calvinoni, Lightmane, Tonka Todd, Gungeon Minister, Miss Bella Games too. If she's still going, catch her in Shrouded Stuff. It's fun. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming out for prime time, and I'll see you back here 8 o'clock Central Time for Paint Minis Live tomorrow night at 8. You can check it out on the Discord or on the YouTube thing. All right. Talk to you later there, Miss Bella Games, and everybody in the chat. Take care. Have a great night. I'm Bill T with Paint Minis Live. I guess that's how we're going to wrap that up. I got to figure out some good catchphrase for the end.